right, y'all, we are back in action. You are listening to another episode of Honesty and Urban. I am your host, Christopher Tips, aka C Daddy, aka the captain of this ship, aka pass me the Henny, because it has been a week per usual. But I mean, like, for real, y'all. This has been a week. I'm not gonna lie, I piled so much stuff on my plate, like so much. I mean, I'm planning like a very small get together with my quarantine pod, who I've been with since the beginning of quarantine. You guys know who you are. You guys rock. I had private lessons. I had choreography. I had so many projects, and I must say, I drowned a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I like legit drowned a little bit. So I will say that this upcoming week, well, next week, shall I say, whew, I pray that everyone joins me in just practicing the slowdown, because that's what we're gonna be doing. I went to Colorado while my computer was getting repaired. That was dope. Dispensaries, just the people, the atmosphere, the culture, everything is so laid back. I mean, like, why wouldn't it be? Colorado was, what, I believe, the first state to legalize marijuana. So I think it's finally done its job. I love it. It has like a very, it's almost like the Western version of California. I feel like it has that small town, but like laid back. Everyone is just like very vibey. I loved it. I mean, the only thing, I went to four different restaurants and three of them were bad. And like, not bad, but like, we went to this one breakfast spot and I got like this brisket, this quote unquote slow roasted or like slow whatever cooked brisket and hash brown thingamabobber. And y'all, the brisket wasn't browned, it didn't have no taste, and it was dry. And I just feel like you lied to me, because it had been slow cooked and really slow cooked. It should have like melted in my mouth. So other than that, though, the people, I mean, everything else made up for it, though. You know, I partook, and that's my business and that's my prerogative, and I like really enjoyed myself. And I'm of the age now where I can now experience things and not have to worry about indulging to the point where it's like too far. I really can like try something and be like, oh, okay, like this is what this is, and like this is how this goes, and I'm like really here for it. So Colorado, you did your job. I appreciate you. I'm gonna be back. Um, Y'all, I really did have a really busy week. So, although I didn't, get around to watching as much TV and stuff, I did binge watch a lot of Girlfriends. So, for this week on What Are We Watching, we gonna catch up with my girls, because I mean, I grew up when that show was on and in its prime, and I wasn't watching that kind of TV. I was still watching like cartoons and stuff. I'm a 92 baby, so I was born in the 90s, but I didn't get to experience the 90s. And then whenever I got into the 2000s, I was still, all of 8 years old whenever that show first came out. But it's really cool now because I'm an adult and I'm looking back at it. And the first thing that I said, like episode one, I was like, oh, these girls are problematic AF. Like, how you gonna bring my ex-man to my birthday party? Okay. Because also understand this. My friends would never, could never, should never try it. And as a matter of fact, one of my friends, we're not gonna do that. Well, yeah, we are. Okay, so I'll tell y'all a little story. So I was talking to this guy, and it was a showman's, and I'm being so messy for this, but y'all my family. And I'm not being messy, I'm just being real. So like, it is what it is. But I was dating a guy, and we were not, well, I wasn't dating, we were just hanging out. And I guess one of my friends also kind of had a thing for him, but because me and this person weren't like official, I guess my friend like thought, well, maybe I could still see. Yeah. Luckily and happily to say, I pulled that friend inside and I was like, hey, what's going on over here? Um, and we like solved it. And then guess what? In the end, that person turned out to be a lame ass. So me and my friend kept our friendship, and that person is no longer. I mean, it is what it is. Moving on, yeah. It's so funny though to watch this show and see how many of those scenarios they get into. Like the episode where Tony's boyfriend found out that she was engaged to another dude. Number one, that mouth right there, like that sentence was a mouthful. So I mean, if you haven't started watching Girlfriends or if you haven't started rewatching Girlfriends, I suggest you do, because I promise you, most likely you're going to see the same thing that I see, which is like, how did we let this TV show go on for so long with so much of this like misogynistic, fat phobic, like all of that just wrapped up into a cute 27 minutes on what UPN? Is UPN even around? I'm pretty sure it isn't. Like, I think that was like channel 20 for me. Something like that. I don't know. But that's what we watched. It was good. Also, shout out to Antebellum. Antebellum is Jordan Peele's latest attempt to make me watch a scary movie, and you failed. Not that I don't want to watch it. I watched Get Out. I watched, what's the other one? Get Out and Us. And yeah, I usually like put myself through those kind of movies just to say like I supported the cause. But with 2020 and how it's going, and I'm gonna say no. And I keep hearing everyone talk about, excuse me. I keep hearing everyone talk about this whole what's it called? This twist of whatever may have happened, and I must say I don't know what it is, but I know everyone keeps talking about it and everyone keeps freaking out about it. And I'm just going to have to live vicariously through y'all's very vague statuses and tweets, because I can't bring myself. Not right now. Maybe after the election. But like whenever I say after the election, I'm thinking like next spring, September, summer. Spring, summer, September. Yeah. All right. I only have one thing to talk about today on the juice, and that is Tory Lanez. We're just gonna jump into the meat because there's not really a perfect lead in. You guys already are pretty much caught up with what's happened. I've talked about it on previous episodes, but our newest update on Tory Lanez is he released an album as a means to tell his side of the story. Now, for obvious reasons, you released this album a day after Breonna Taylor's killers were allowed to walk out the door with nothing more a slap on the wrist and, confetti, to be honest. So that's already inappropriate. You know what I mean? Like, anybody who's anybody can call up their label and be like, if y'all release that shit, I'm gonna tell my own damn fans that I had no control. But then he tried to say like he released the album to and he was like donating to domestic violence or like women's rights shelters. Some bullshit. Just like some straight up bull cockamamie bullshit. I'm just trying to figure out again how you thought this was a good idea. Not only releasing it on the day, but the album as a whole. I mean, and again, we're gonna address black men and their bullshit, but like, again, let's just talk facts. Megan has released multiple statements via IG Live, I don't know if she's released like if she's like wrote a long article or anything. I don't think she has. I think everything she's done has been more so, Twitter and IG Live addressing the situation at hand. When she first addressed it, she never named Tory. We never knew anything. All we knew is Tory was arrested. Then she revealed she kept Tory safe because obviously she wasn't trying to get anyone in trouble. She didn't want Tory shot. She didn't want to get, shot herself. Like she took one for the team. Literally, one for the team. Actually, two for the team. One for both of her feet. So I'm confused as to why Tory just couldn't go on IG Live, write an iOS press, have his team put out a statement that he completely like is behind detailing his account. I just feel like there was 682 ways we could have attacked this. that didn't involve you making some money on the side, whether it be your streams, whether it be album sales. Actually, I just feel like you a hoe ass person. And actually, I'm sorry. For the first time on my show, let me say what I gotta say. You a hoe ass nigga for that one. It is what it is. Man, that felt good to say. Look, I don't condone the bullshit. And it slays me that instead of having the decency to even just call Megan up herself, which, to be honest, you probably did. I'm more than sure you probably tried to get in touch with her because you wanted to save your own ass. But I don't understand how you let your team, and I'm not going to say it was you, but you let your team, you let the media, and you let everyone else have a fucking field day with this. And you could have said something. And so to sit there and act like, oh, I'm angry. Oh, I'm sorry, I've been silent, but today I got the time, 9 p.m. tonight, 12 p.m. tonight, just to have people wait around for an album. So here's the other part about this, right? Because Tori is trying to put out this idea that nothing for him has changed in the world of music or in the world of like fame and success. Let's read off some tidbits that I did a little better research on. Yeah, you want to join me? Yeah, all right. Let's talk about something. Tori, on average, monthly had 20 to 30 million streams, and at one point in time, I believe he may have peaked at 40. Not sure. Just know this: the minute that this story was released, his streams went from 20 to 30 million to 9 million. Yeah? Yeah, but it's okay. He's untouched. Everything is good, right? Because remember, he didn't say anything, but then whenever that article was released about his streams dropping, and at that point in time, I think they had only dropped by 40%. That is whenever he came in and like slid in was it TMZ's or he slid in some DMs or made a statement to some extent and basically was like, what do you mean? That's a lie. Drop streams where? And I'm just like, sir, did you just come back to defend your streaming account? Okay, so that's our first issue. Here's the other thing. Daystar, which is Tory Lane's actual first name, Daystar Peterson, oh bitch ass. Daystar decides, that he's going to drop his first album. His first album, the first week of sales for his first album was his lowest selling week to date. Until the dumbass decided, I'm going to drop this album. And now the album is on track. And I'll check the numbers, whenever, if I get around to it. But from reports, the album will be his new lowest first week of sales. So again, you've been removed off of countless songs. I'm pretty sure brands are not reaching out to you for an IG shout out. You in denial, ho. You in whole denial. Number one, what sickened me was the fact that they had to match the bullets from the gun. Number one, I believe that was someone in Megan's camp said, like, number one, bro, the hospital's already confirmed the bullets from your gun and, her foot. Like, what do we need? What else do we need? And I really do hate that we still live in this world where like we have to have so many qualifiers on why we should believe you when you have never done any. It'd be one thing if we were talking about Jussie Smollett, and I'm not even trying to be funny. It'd be one thing if we were talking about Jussie Smollett, which, I mean, let's not even go there. That in itself is its whole own thing. But why do we still do this? Like, why is it that if I get beat up in the alley and then no one saw it and then I come and say, oh my God, help, I got beat up in the alley, people are like, well, like, did you get beat up in the alley? Like, was it, man? I don't know. Like, look, what, I just feel like maybe the way you work, if you was beat up in the alley, your shoes wouldn't look like that, or you wouldn't have had that kind of shirt, or they would have robbed you. Nah, he lying. Nah, he probably gave himself that own black eye. What he was probably doing was sitting there popping. Like, why do we do this? Of all of the things that we do, it is this that I'm always the most confused about. So here we are, discrediting Megan. even though the hospital records show that she had bullet fragments, either the bullet or bullet fragments. I forgot, someone perfectly explained about the way whenever you're shot, most people receive the injury from X layer of a bullet. But anyways, everything's been proven. And so we don't know exactly right now what's happening when it comes to charges. I don't know if Megan is even still trying to seek charges or if she just sat there and told her truth. People are trying to say like, oh no, y'all, like, he had gun residue, he didn't have it, and if it was the FBI, the investigation. I'm like, well, y'all, the investigation is open like as we speak. And no tea, no shade, but like, black or white or, you know, vegan, like, celebrities are still celebrities. You know, they're equipped. Essentially, all these celebrities work for these very powerful white people. And if I'm a very powerful white person and you are one of my money makers, or if I am a black person who has enough money to hire a very powerful white person or a very powerful lawyer or, you know, of any kind, and I need, you know, not being racist specific, but what I'm saying is they try to make this argument that Tory Lanez is black, so if he really did it, he would have been put in jail. And I'm like, y'all don't think that his money worked differently? Like, y'all don't think that, you know, because he has the influence and he's a celebrity and has all these people surrounding him, his label, he's in the middle of contracts, they've probably spent money on him that they want to see, you know, them make back. They're not gonna let him go down. So who knows what happened and why he hasn't been, you know, arrested or charged yet. What I'm saying is this: the man got arrested for having a concealed weapon. Who else in that car had a concealed weapon? Oh, wait. Because from what I hear, he's the only one. Now, what I will say is this: if Megan Thee Stallion was Meghan Trainor and she said Tory Lanez shot me, y'all want to know what conversations we wouldn't have time to have before he was locked up and deported? Haha. Take a wild guess. Again, I said this before and I'll say it again. Y'all bitches kill me. Like, for real. Chill. Relax. Chillax. Okay? Y'all do the most. I could throw up. Anyways, it's a lot. The story is still unfolding. Ironically, Megan Thee Stallion just released this video, and you know, she's been sending out her own fuck yous. She has the right. You know, she's a black woman who was injured. No matter what happened, she was injured, and now she's watching the world try to justify why it was okay. You know what that must feel like? To like have something horrible happen to you no matter what the circumstances were, because at the end of the day she was in a room, but she was around a group full of people that she felt she could trust, and she found out for whatever reason she could not. And now you look at the world and ain't nobody got your back, and her mom not here, and her grandma not here, and you don't know who's surrounding, you don't know. Child, man, fuck y'all, for real. For real. And I feel that. I done been through some real shit. I mean, I done lost an uncle, a grandma. I done, you know, had suicide attempts. I done been through a lot. And I have had people look at me and be like, well, so again, I be on some fuck you type shit. And when I hear stuff like this, I get heated. So Tory Lanez, for real, man, like, go jump off a bridge, do what you gotta do. But like, bro, you on some bullshit. Sorry, I do feel a very strong type of way about that. I just, oof. Whew, I digress, right? So hopefully, you know, the story moves on. Hopefully his ass does get charged. Hopefully he gets deported. I don't care about people who don't like cancel culture. You're not going to tell me that someone who did this and is acting like this and, responding like this deserves to just continue to make money and be supported. No, bullshit. Like, even, and at the very least, even Chris Brown, even Chris Brown, can y'all imagine if Chris Brown would have released an album being like, let me tell you my side of the story? What? What? Like, are you serious? Get the fuck. Oh, speaking of, in the sphere of Chris Brown, Fenty Fashion Show dropped. I have not watched it yet. I've been avoiding all of the clips online. As a matter of fact, the small gathering that I'm having is a very small lingerie party for my pod, and we're gonna enjoy it. And I'm excited. We're cooking. We're gonna probably strut around, you know, in little panties, in my panties. I'm excited. Rihanna is forever doing something. There's a rumor out that she's trying to start a cookware line, and I'm like over it. Like Rihanna, look, after I buy these mixing bowls and that spatula, I'm gonna tweet. I'm gonna tweet at you. It'll probably be tweets of thank you. But when you're not around, I'm going to lightly tell my cat, I don't have a cat, my dog, that I am upset with you. And that should shake your boots if you're listening to this. And I know you are not. All right. That's all I got for all of this. This has been a mouthful. Let me go get a shot of whiskey. Let me go get a drink of water and I will be right back. All right, y'all. And we are back for our last segment. Let's wrap this up. I've been trying to figure out exactly how I wanted to word all of this. So I actually wrote down notes so I can like stay on topic and we can all wrap this shit up and go home. Well, maybe if you aren't at home, I am, but you know what I mean. So it's 2 points to this. It is I was hurt by someone that I love, and in return, I hurt others that I love. Classic hurt people type thing. So long story short, one of my very, very dear friends had a very special event. She's part of my quarantine, pod, and I was supposed to show up, and I ended up being stuck. Uh, I ended up in an argument with somebody face to face, and the idea was let me wrap up this argument because this is BS, and I'm gonna go. But I ended up staying in the argument longer than I should have because someone who I was arguing with, who was a person that I love, they know my triggers and I they use them against me. I have abandonment issues, so I will say that in this particular argument, they showed themselves because I knew I was right. I knew I was, basically saying 1 plus 1 is 2, and this is why this led to this. But this person knew that if they accepted what I was saying, they would be in the wrong. So, they used one of my triggers, which is saying, okay, um, that really shouldn't be as much of a trigger as it is. But for me, it's a dismissal. For me, it makes me feel unheard. For me, it brings me back to every time I tried to tell my mom, my dad, my family I was going through something. It goes to every time I've turned to somebody and they haven't been there. Um, and so, yes, if I argue with you, know that I must care about you, because most people can't get more than like a high out of me. So it was a heated argument, and this person, was gaslighting and deflecting, and then hit me with the okays, and then, hit me with the monotone and the eye rolls, and I was just like done. So like I was like, F this, I'm leaving. And my friends, like the party had started, and they were like, hey, where are you? And at one point, I just said like, I'm so sorry, like things are going on. I'm not going to be able to make it. So like I was like I'm not going to go. So I ended up leaving and I was going to show up, no matter how late it was. And what ended up happening was I decided I didn't want to be a burden to the celebration. I didn't want to come in as a cloud. So I decided I was going to go to a bar. Went to the bar, ran into a couple of people, ended up having like an okay time, It was enough for me to kind of forget my woes and my troubles. And then the next morning, I woke up because a picture had been posted that I was out. And my friends confronted me and they were like, hey, just need to get something off of our chest. And basically told me, we expected you to be there. We were very understanding that you couldn't make it, but we were very confused and bothered at the fact that you made time to make it out. And what's crazy is my initial response was like, actually, what happened was, and I didn't type, I didn't respond like that, but just to myself. But then I paused and I was like, okay, wait a minute. Let me read this again. And then I read it again and I understood these were not people who were like trying to, nuck if you buck at me. These weren't people who were trying to make me feel bad. These were people actually saying, hey, bud, we care about you so much. And we're kind of upset because no matter how good of a time we had, it wasn't the best time because you weren't there. And that, y'all, that flipped my shit for two very good reasons. Because I was confused. I was like, what? Like, I don't know. This is how I'm used to. Like, I'm used to, like, child, I tell people this all the time. Like, my parents barely even know they have another son. Same thing with my friends. Like, I get invited to shit all the time. And I just don't, we just don't show up. Y'all know how it is. We all have those friends who are like, y'all know they're not coming. And so I guess I probably do take that role. I do show up to my friends' events when I know they, like, really, really matter. And I guess this was just one of those instances where this was one of those moments, but I actually didn't show up. And I was like, well, why? Like, why is it that big of a deal? Why is it that big of a deal? And then I was like, because they value you, Chris, because you hold value. Um, and so, like, I sat with that for a second and I was like, okay. So I let them know what happened, and I let them know in detail about the argument and how I was feeling and why, I was on the way, but I wasn't going to come. And, of course they were, oh, and this is the part that I forgot to say. Here's a different thing about having healthy friends, and these are, newer people in my life. They, he ended the message, because two of my best friends are a couple. And it's the best part about me being best friends with this couple is I have very separate friendships with each of them. And so it's genuine. It's not like I'm friends with one and so the other one comes along with the package. I met both of them actually before they even got together. So I built friendships with them and then they started dating. But he was like, bro, like my girl had an event and you didn't show up. And I was like, oh shit. And so I explained. But at the end of his message, he was like, Bud, I want you to know, like, there's no love lost. I actually wanted to get this off our chest so we could all move on, without any baggage, without anything unspoken. And I just wasn't used to A, the clear communication, and B, someone caring enough about me to tell me that they care about me and enjoy and care when my presence is not available whenever I say and promise it will be. So that's that, right? And I dealt with that and it's completely fine. It is not even, a drop of water under the bridge. Like, we're good. What, um, God, here we go. What kind of caught me off guard was I had to go back and do some researching on myself and say, well, have I ever missed this message? Like, maybe at the time I didn't hear it correctly, and I did. And so I guess I was gonna tell this story, but I will just say this as an apology. To Mariah, to Peter, I apologize for missing you all's wedding. Um, I, it's so crazy, you all asked me to be in your actual wedding party, and I didn't value it. I mean, I value you all, obviously, and you guys are amazing. And, for listeners, wanting some context, Mariah and Peter are people who I love dearly. They are the reason why I got through my Royal Caribbean contract because working on a ship is crazy, and that's all you need to know. And these two people had my back so many times, and that friendship carried over to land. I actually was brought around their family and made to feel like family, and I was asked to be in their wedding, and I missed it because of work. The issue is not so much why I missed it, it was how I reacted about missing it. I just was kind of like, like it's fine, and I didn't understand why like I knew of course like yes you're perturbed that and you're upset and you're probably pissed and yeah you're pissed that I missed your wedding and you didn't find this out until literally the day of because we had a girl go down and because of that girl going down the way my break was supposed to work on me literally coming, being at the ceremony, and then jetting out just to say like I was there. We ended up having to come in, rearrange things, throw in, our not our extras. They're called swings when, people jump into the show and other people. So there was like no one there to cover for me. There was no one there that could have, I would have lost my job and probably been fired for everything else that I did with them afterwards. And I kind of almost thought like, well, you guys should like be understanding. But then I also was just like, come on, like you're picking a fight. And then it dawned to me like they valued me. And I so casually took my presence away from them. And so no matter how good of a time they had, not saying that, not saying that I made a, I mean, I didn't make or break or nothing. They got married and they're so happy. But you know what I mean? Like it wasn't the thing that they were counting on me to provide with just my presence was taken away from them so casually. And that was it. And I never made time to go back. I just kind of like let them casually float away, and I miss y'all. I'm truly, truly sorry, and I am still growing, and I'm still figuring it all out, and that is not y'all's issue, and I don't want it to become y'all's issue, but I just hope y'all know that I am so sorry and that I miss y'all so goddamn much. So that realization caught me completely left field because that happened years ago. But like when I tell y'all, my roommate can attest, I spent that day like in my feelings crying because it was just like all piling down, like I used to, when you want a certain reaction, like when you spend your whole life wanting a certain reaction from certain people, it doesn't matter how good other people may treat you. It doesn't matter how many times they say congrats, good job. It's like, yeah, you said it and 70 other people said it, and I had 3,000 people in the audience go up for me at the end of my number, but like my mom just said, oh cool, like my dad just said cool, like my boyfriend just said like good job. Like I had a lot of that in my life, so I didn't even realize the value in the people that were right next to me, trying to push me to do better things. And honestly, I'm glad. Like, I'm glad y'all not chunk deuce. Like, we also like double tap here and there and like and love, but like it's not the same, and for very, very good reason. And whenever I tell y'all this kind of stuff, sometimes it gets a little too much, like, okay, like maybe it's a little too personal, but like I really would rather put myself on blast and put myself on Front Street and let y'all know what I've done and what I've been through, rather than always talking about, stuff from like an outside perspective. I'm not an expert at anything. I've just had a lot of experiences, so I try to tell you guys not only my experiences, but especially whenever, those full circle moments happen, and this was one of them. I would have never looked back and said, I realized I hurt y'all, but not only did I hurt y'all, by my actions and, my lack of being there for you all when you all expected me and were counting on me, but also just not really ever looking at you all and saying, I'm sorry, I missed probably one of the most important days of y'all's lives, and I was supposed to be there and I should have been there. So I hope I can convince y'all to listen to this. And I think we all know what time it is. Thank you all. This has been what? Dope, as usual. Thank y'all literally from the bottom of my black ass heart. I love each and every one of y'all. And thank you guys for checking in and staying, by me, ready and waiting while my computer was getting fixed and I was doing all of the other shit. I love y'all, and I love the fact that y'all are learning to love me. All right.